Hey guys, my name is Matamil, and today's challenge, a lot of you have been wanting me to use the explosive arrows on the Phantom Bow to slay the enemy in Battlefield 4. Admittedly, I have slowly warmed up to this weapon. Originally, I despised it. I thought it was one of the most worthless weapons in the game, but after around 300 kills now, in a weird way, I've grown to appreciate and like the Phantom Bow. Slap on the explosive arrows though, and it turns into an absolute nightmare. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that these things are the worst and most worthless things in Battlefield 4. They absolutely serve no function whatsoever. The biggest thing that I had to overcome with this challenge was simply dropping the enemy with one arrow. You wouldn't think it would be that big of a deal, especially if you're using the broadhead. One of the strengths of using that arrow type is that if you're within 30 meters of the enemy and you hit him in the chest, while it's not an easy task, if you hit him in the chest, it guarantees that you're going to be able to drop them with that one arrow. That is the strength of using the Phantom Bow, and honestly the reason why it is as satisfying as it is. The problem with the explosive arrow though is that if you want that one-shot kill, you have to get a headshot at all distances. It doesn't matter if they're even 2 feet in front of you. If you hit him in the chest with this arrow type, you're gonna get a hit marker. And because of all the other baggage that comes along with using the bow, the long reload time, the travel speed, and the draw time, you're probably not going to come out of that firefight alive. Like 9 out of 10 times, because they're using an automatic weapon, they are going to have a clear advantage and they're going to blast your face full of bullets. And so it's for this very reason why I can't understand why anyone would want to use this on the battlefield, but also why this challenge was as difficult as it was, because it forced me to get headshots if I wanted to get more than one kill and continue on with my kill streak. One sort of redeeming quality of the arrow though is that its splash damage is very consistent. If you're able to get some nice explosive damage on the enemy, it's almost always going to do 35 damage per arrow. And so if you're lucky enough or you're accurate enough and you have an enemy that's way out there and he's not moving around too often, if you're not able to get that direct body shot, 3 arrows will almost always take them out. You'll notice that I use this tactic fairly consistently on the battlefield. If I notice that there's no way that I'm going to be able to line up a normal body shot, I would do my best just to try to get as many hit markers as I possibly can. And while it doesn't always work, there are some times where you have to get 4 or 5 hit markers on the enemy. As long as I get it somewhat close to their body, I'm going to be able to drop them in 3 bullets. And so I guess you could say that is the one redeeming quality of it. One tactic that I try to use as often as I could though was placing traps for my enemy. There were moments where I would run up some stairs, peek my head out from around a corner, take a shot at an enemy, miss horribly because I'm a miserable shot, and then run away. He noticed I was shooting at him, he would retaliate, run after me, and then I'd place C4 on the wall and shoot at the C4, detonating it and getting that nice satisfying kill. The problem with it is that while it was glorious when it happened, it was amazing when you were actually able to pull off one of these maneuvers, I was noticing that the explosion of the arrow doesn't always guarantee that the C4 is going to detonate. I don't know why this is. Here's a perfect example of it. I was noticing this halfway through my play session. I placed a random C4 on the wall, stood back, and fired an arrow. Nothing happened. I fired another arrow and it detonated. I don't know why it's as inconsistent as it is. And so there were numerous occasions where I set up the perfect trap. I knew the enemy was going to chase after me. I placed C4 on the wall. I had my ADS up. I had the arrow notched. Just as the enemy enters the room, fire the arrow at the C4. And nothing happens. Because he's using an automatic weapon, I'm down on the ground half a second later, wondering why in the world the C4 never detonated. When it did, it was amazing. It was extremely satisfying. I felt like I outplayed the enemy, but because of that inconsistency, it led to some very frustrating moments. Another issue with the arrow, if all of this wasn't enough, and took me a long time to figure out, is that if you are lining up a headshot on an enemy who's about, let's say, 5 meters away, he's not moving, he's a camping sniper, and you aim for his head, you would assume by using that green tab that you would be guaranteed to get the headshot. Little did I know, though, that that's not how it works when you're using that green tab in close encounter combat. For some reason, the explosive arrow rises a little bit. And so if you're aiming at their head, which you assume you would need to drop them with one arrow, the arrow will fly over their head and you won't even get a hit marker. I'm a little ashamed that it took me as long as it did to figure this out. Like, I spent hours not realizing that this was the case, swearing that I should be getting hit markers or even headshots, but just seeing the arrow fly by them or fly over their head, wondering what the hell is going on. And so if you are going to use the explosive arrows for whatever reason, make sure that if you are within close encounter combat, aim for their upper chest or their neck if you do want to secure that one-shot kill. But the final nail in the coffin, or at least what I found to be one of the most disappointing aspects about it, is that it doesn't do any damage against aircrafts or really any vehicle on the battlefield. If this just did 10, 20, dare I say 30 damage against a scout helicopter, an attack helicopter, that would be an amazing aspect about using this weapon. It would be kind of cool to have that anti-aircraft capabilities. It wouldn't be easy to take them out, and you probably wouldn't be all that successful, but if you were lucky enough to line a shot against an enemy aircraft that was flying on over, why not reward them with a little damage? 10, 20, dare I say 30. That would have made it glorious. I still wouldn't recommend using it, but it would have been a vast improvement what it is right now. But overall, while it definitely was a frustrating challenge and it took me a very long time to get a basic understanding on how this thing performs, especially that random arrow arch, I would have never have guessed that when I first started using it. I had fun. It was enjoyable, especially when I went on a kill streak where I killed 5 people in a row. I don't know how it happened, but it did. The enemy clearly had no idea what was going on. Those moments were just exhilarating simply because of all of the things that I had to overcome. And so for everyone that has been pestering me to use this challenge, tip of the hat to you. I'm glad I finally did it for those few moments when I was successful on going on an extended kill streak. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's challenge. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you have a setup that you would like me to try next, let me know down below. This is a series that is based off of your recommendations. And so if there is a weapon with a terrible combination of attachments or a gadget that you would like me to use exclusively, let me know down below in the comments. But yeah, until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.